Sicario 2 Soldado or Day of the Soldado or something like that, I don't know, it depends on where you live, is directed by Stefano Sollima and is the sequel to the original Sicario, which is a film that I really love. It's one of my favorite films of 2015, and I think that with that film, Denis Villeneuve and Taylor Sheridan and everyone involved was able to accomplish something really special and something really unique. And obviously after that, Taylor Sheridan went on to write Hell or High Water, which got a ton of like awards attention, and then after that he did Wind River, which is a film that I love. And so going into this film, I did have a lot of high expectations, but when I first heard about it, I was kind of apprehensive because I didn't want this to just be another Hollywood blockbustery action crime drama thriller. You know, because Denis Villeneuve's not coming back, Roger Deakins is not coming back, Emily Blunt is not coming back. But when I found out that Taylor Sheridan was coming back to write the script, I was very, very excited. Because I know that obviously if Taylor Sheridan is back, it means that he wants to tell this story. And I'm up for anything that Taylor Sheridan writes, to be honest, because he's a very, very talented guy. And after having seen Sicario 2, it's safe to say that this is probably the weakest out of the 4 he's done. But it's still a really, really good film. But before I say anything else, I just want to make this as clear as possible. This is not as good as the first Sicario. There are moments that I would say rival the first Sicario. There are moments that I would say are, you know, getting there, but it's not as good as the first Sicario. But now let's talk about Stefano Sollima and what he brings to the film as a director, because I think that he has a really good understanding of what made the first film good. I think that part of what made that first film so great was that it had this unflinching confidence to show certain images and actions and events that are very gruesome, that are very, very horrible and horrifying, that will be lasered into your head for the rest of your life. And that's exactly what he brings to this film, because there are many moments, one in particular, in the second scene of the film basically, that I will never forget. And so much of that is because of the way it's directed and the way it is shot. And there's a great sequence halfway through the film as well, involving like vans, similar in many ways to the highway sequence in the first film. Not quite as good, but it's still very, very well directed. The cinematography here by Dariusz Wolski, not Roger Deakins. I think that this is probably one of the few times where everyone in their YouTube reviews have been talking about how a cinematographer has been replaced. Nobody talks about that usually. They always talk about how a director has been replaced. But here, because it's Roger Deakins, you know, it's a big deal when he's not doing the sequel. Dariusz Wolski is shooting this film, and I've been a big fan of him for a while. He's done a lot of films with Ridley Scott, and somehow, and for some reason, he always seems to find the green in every single shot. If you go back and look at some of his films, whether it's the Alien films or Pirates of the Caribbean or whatever, it's very green. He somehow finds like a shade of green in every single shot. In Sicario 2, it's weirdly green, but it looks nice. The cinematography is really nice. There are some great moments of camera movement and great moments of lighting, and it's really nice. The score here is also solid. The composer obviously had to, you know, pick up from the work of the late Johan Johansson, rest in peace. And it is solid. I would say that the score, for the most part, is relatively tame compared to the first film. But at the end, towards the end, when that sort of Johan Johansson Sicario theme starts to come on, it's just epic and it's so good. Sent chills down my spine. So I think that it's fair to say that the technical aspects of the film are absolutely solid. But what about the characters? What about the story? Well, Benicio del Toro and Josh Brolin are both great. I would say, though, that this film, in terms of its characters, goes down the Nightcrawler route, in that it doesn't necessarily give the characters an arc. They don't necessarily change from the beginning to the end, because I think the film is more interested in showing how our protagonists affect the characters around them. Because to be honest, there's really no point changing or altering these characters, because they already have clear motivations and they've already been established. So I think that in some cases, especially this one, it is more interesting to not have the characters, our main characters, have an arc, but show how other characters have an arc because of our main characters. And that was quite interesting to watch, which is where we run into our problems. Because weirdly enough, for me, there wasn't a clear protagonist. Even though this film is very much, you know, based around Benicio del Toro and Josh Brolin. Josh Brolin comes in about 10 minutes into the film. Benicio del Toro comes in about 20 minutes into the film. And I felt that in the way the film was written and in the way that they cut between these characters, was that we never got to spend 100%, like, you know, we were never 100% focused on one individual. We kept cutting back and forth, and so whenever I was with Benicio del Toro, I would be like, oh my god, this is about to get good, and they cut to Josh Brolin, and I was like, this is about to get good, they cut back to Benicio del Toro, and so at no point in the film did I feel 100% invested in either one of these characters, which was a shame, because their characters are obviously very interesting and very well played. The second problem that I have is that compared to some of Sheridan's other films, Sicario 2 doesn't do as good a job of presenting the themes and the messages very clearly, because if you've watched Hell or High Water or Sicario Wind River, you know that Taylor Sheridan does have some very important sort of political messages in there. Whereas with Sicario 2, it isn't shown to you with as much clarity. You kind of have to dig a little bit deeper, and I just wish that we had gotten those themes and messages with a little bit more clarity. And that, for me personally, makes the film feel sort of less focused and less motivated at some points. Also, as every YouTube reviewer has said, there is this big shift in terms of the story around the halfway point. And yes, the film does lose a little bit of energy, but it does slowly but surely pick up for a relatively decent finale. But for me, the first half of the film is definitely better than the second half. Also, the ending, it doesn't do a good enough job, I feel, of giving a sense of finality. There are many questions that are left unanswered. A lot of plot lines and characters is kind of like left there. And I just wish the film could have done a slightly better job of making sure we actually felt fulfilled at the end. But in the way that it ends, it does suggest that there is going to be a third film, and I would love to see a third film because I love these characters and I love Taylor Sheridan, and I am excited to see what they have next if they do make a third film. So to conclude, Sicario 2 Soldado, or Day of the Soldado, or whatever it's called, Sicario 2, let's just call it that, is a solid film. It is a lot of fun. There are some great moments. There are some moments that I will never forget. It's very well directed, the beautiful cinematography, great score, really, really good acting. I'm going to give Sicario 2 a B+. I feel like saying that this film is the weakest out of the four just kind of makes it, you know, like, it makes it feel less good, even though it is like a really solid film and there are great moments in it, just not quite as good as Wind River or Hell or High Water or the original Sicario. But thank you very much for watching my review, guys. Jesus Christ, it's getting sunny. Yeah, thank you though for watching my reviews. Stay tuned though for my review for The Incredibles, which is coming out soon, and Man and the Wasp as well. Thank you very much for watching, guys. Thank you.